So, we are going to start grade 10 history book, chapter number 1, that is Rise of Nationalism in Europe. And before knowing this, we need to understand the background of this nationalism or rise of nationalism. And you have already studied in grade 9 that how French Revolution started. All the ideas of liberty, fraternity, equality and all these things, right, that was confined only to the French Revolution, because all the conservative rulers in Europe did not want these ideas to spread everywhere. That is why they supported Napoleon, okay, and later they refused also. They started opposing also. That's a different issue. But they all wanted conservative form of government, or you can say the old monarchical form of government, because these leaders did not want to give up their privileges, right? So you saw that the ideals of the French Revolution, which were supposed to be very good and which was supposed to be copied in other countries, could not happen, right? So the idea of nationalism. So again you will saw that another wave of rise of nationalism started in Europe, right? And that started especially from we will see that France and other countries also. So the first page talks about this picture. That in the picture you can see that there is a statue, and you can see the people are lining up with number of flags. Yes or no, right? Varieties of flags are there, German flags there, French flag and all these things are there, right? And it's a long queue. That shows what? That rise of nationalism and unity, okay? And if you see in the sky, you see the Christ is there and other gods or gods are there, and they all are showering their blessings, okay? Those things are there. So here I just read that in 1848, Frederic Soleil, the French artist, prepared a series of 4 print visualizing his dream of world map of democratic and social republics, as he called them. That means these countries, all the countries should be there should be democracy in those countries, and a republic form of government should be there. The first print, that figure 1 you can see here, of the series show the people of Europe and America, men and women of all ages and social classes, marching in a long train and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass by it. Right, so you can see the flags and people are offering their homage, or you can say respect. As you would recall, artists of the time of the French Revolution personified liberty as a female figure. Right, okay, so female figure was there. Here you can recognize the torch of enlightenment she wears in one hand and charter of the right of man in the other. Okay, so that charter of right of man was written in 1791. Okay, the first constitution of the French Revolution, after French Revolution. On the earth in the foreground. You understand the meaning of foreground? That means the lower part of the picture. So any picture has 3 grounds: foreground, middle ground and background. In the background you can see what? The gods. So in any picture, the lower part of the picture is called foreground, the middle part of the picture is called naturally the middle ground, and the top of part of the picture is called background. Right? So you can see in the background you have the gods and all these things, and you can see the relief feature of that also, and you can see the long queue, or you can say long line of people over there, right, in the middle ground. And in the middle ground only you see the liberty of the Statue of Liberty is there. So main object is kept in the middle ground mostly, okay. So here it says that on the earth in the foreground of the image lie the shattered remains of the symbol of. You can see in the bottom part of the figure, that means the crowns are broken. Crowns are there, right? Okay, those things are there. The symbols of absolutist institutions. In his views or utopian vision, the people of the world are grouped as distinct nations, identified through their flags and national costumes. Leading the procession way past the Statue of Liberty are the United States and Switzerland, which by this time were already nation states. Okay, so United States was a country already. Switzerland itself was a country. While in other countries, the modern countries, these were not the countries. They were mostly what? Kingdoms, principalities, small principalities. Okay, that is why unification of Germany took place. Unification of Italy took place. Right. If you talk in Indian what to say, in Indian way, you can understand that when India got divided partition between India and Pakistan, right? I don't know how many kingdoms were there in Pakistan that time, but India had more than 550 kingdoms, right? Okay, kings were there, right? So there was no unification as such, right? So we had to unify the entire country, right? So we had an agreement with the kings, the local kings, right? Those things happened. So you can see that idea of nationalism started, that one. Here it says the last word, the France, identifiable by the revolutionary tricolor, has just reached the statue, and she is followed by the people of Germany wearing the black and red and gold flag. Interestingly, at the time when this artist created this image, the German people did not yet exist as a united nation. Okay, because Germany was also divided into many principalities or many kingdoms. The flag they carry is an expression of the liberal hopes of 1848 to unify the numerous German-speaking principalities into a nation-state under a democratic constitution. So these 30, if I'm not mistaken, there were around 32 principalities in Germany. Germany was divided into 32 kingdoms, you can say, right? Those kingdoms, among them, Prussia was one of the most powerful and most important kingdom. Okay, so these kingdoms were supposed to be unified. Okay, all right. So that was very important that time. Following the German people are the people of Austria, the kingdom of the two Sicilies, Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary, and Russia. From the heavens above, the Christ, saints, and angels gaze upon the scene, and they have been used by the artist to symbolize fraternity among the nations of the world, that for all, God is one. Okay. This chapter will deal with many of these issues visualized by this painter. During the 19th century, nationalism emerged as a force which brought about sweeping changes in the political and mental world of Europe. So, because Europe was, a country which was already very, very disintegrated in the sense that Germany was divided into many principalities, right? In France, you can say that revolution took place, but it went useless because people did not learn, or people wanted to change the society and the political system in France, but it could not happen over there, right? And in Europe also, other countries also supported the old monarchical form of government, right? Okay, so those things were there, while people wanted a different system. Those philosophers, those who wrote about the social contract, those who wrote about liberty, fraternity and all, equality and all those things they wanted to implement in a real sense in their countries, right? So, and they wanted to have an identity also, that we are French, we are German, we are Austrian, we are Polish, all those things. Okay, so the idea of nation state started from there. So check the fourth line. It said the end result of these changes was the emergence of a nation state in place of the multinational dynastic empires of Europe. So nation state means what? Nation state means, a nation state refers to a situation, or you can say a group of people who share the same language, same religion, same culture, right? So they form a nation state. Right? Nation state doesn't need exactly, or doesn't mean exactly a piece of land. Right? That is the part of this. But suppose you have different language, I have different language, your religion is different, my religion is different, your custom is different, we cannot form a nation state until and unless we share something which is common. Right? Our history is common. Just tomorrow India and Pakistan become one country. Right, we will share the same history, right? Because this is just a political line, which make one landmass as Pakistan and one landmass as India, right? North Korea, South Korea, same. Japan, here in Japan it is a different system, because Japan is an island and an archipelago, so it's a different. But you see in North Korea and South Korea, they got divided in 1950. right, with 38th parallel. Otherwise, before that, they were one only. Okay, so those things are there. Many countries got divided. But they might be sharing or they might be having the same culture, same things, but because of political ambitions, countries got divided. Okay. Further, it says that, but a nation state was one in which a majority of its citizens, and not only its rulers, came to develop a sense of common identity. This is very important here, common identity, and shared history. Give me a pen or pencil. You don't have anyone? Okay. So here it says a common identity and shared history or descent. This commonness did not exist from time immemorial. It was forced through the struggles, through the actions of leaders and common people. This chapter will deal with all these things. So now we are at page number 5, and we are going to see the French Revolution and the idea of nation. Before that, page number 4 has a box, source A, and it says, what is a nation? So you have to understand the meaning of a nation. So it says, in a lecture delivered at the University of Sorbonne in 1882, the French philosopher Ernst Renan outlined his understanding of what makes a nation. What makes a nation? The lecture was subsequently published in famous essay. Many essays were there. He says what? That a nation is the culmination, that means the highest point of a long past of endeavors, sacrifice and devotion. This has the history of sacrifice, history of devotion. Okay, a historic past, great men, glory. That is the social capital upon which one bases the national ideas. Our leaders, like your leader Jinnah, our leader Gandhi, they all fought against the Britishers. Because of our differences, Jinnah demanded a separate state or separate country. That's a different issue. But we all fought. And Jinnah, when he joined politics coming from England, he was in the Congress only. Later he decided to have another party and he joined Muslim League. Before joining Muslim League, he was the member of Congress, an active member of Congress. Right? Why he decided he joined Muslim League, that's a different issue. But we all, whether it was a Muslim League or International Congress or the Communist Party, they all fought against the common enemy, and the common enemy was the British. Right? So we shared that sacrifice, we shared that history of a struggle. Right? So at least we have something which is common among us. Right? So here, to have common glories in the past, and to have common will in the present, and to have performed great deeds together, to wish to perform still more, these are essential conditions of being a people. That means you need to have common identity. Okay, that one. Our nation is therefore a large scale solidarity, blah blah blah. Its existence is a daily plebiscite. A province is its inhabitants. If anyone has the right to be consulted, it is the inhabitant. So if you want to take any decision for the people, right, you have to talk to the people. Right? Take the Kashmir issue. If you talk about Kashmir issue, if you want to solve the Kashmir issue, we always talk about plebiscite. Right? Pakistan always talks about plebiscite, and India keeps refusing it. Why? There are certain reasons behind that. But if you want to take decision about the people of Kashmir, you have to talk to them. Right? You can't take arbitrary decision, or you can say India or Pakistan cannot take. Okay, now LOC is our permanent border. What about the people of Kashmir? You have to think that people of Kashmir want to become a united Kashmir, or they really want to become part of Pakistan and India, or they want to have a separate state. Because dividing those things is not a solution. We have to think about their wish also, because they have a separate identity. They are Kashmiris. They are not Sindhis. They are not Baluchis. They are not Bihari. They are not Bengali. They are not Punjabis. They have their separate identity. So there is a common identity between the two Kashmir, POK and IOK. Right? So we have to take. Otherwise, today you decide all these things, but it is not that you have solved the problem. Maybe after down the line, let's say 20 years or 25 years, another revolution may start. That we Kashmiris are being differentiated by the Pakistani government, or we Kashmiris are differentiated by the Indian government, right? And we are asked to leave our culture and language and all these things, and to adopt Hindi or Urdu and all these things. This may happen. So another revolution will start. So did you really solve the problem? No, you did not. You tried to just buy some time. Right? So plebiscite is important, or you have to consult the people, the inhabitants of those area. Then only you can make a nation. Okay? So this was his lecture over there. Now come to page number 5. It says the French Revolution and the idea of the nation. So the first clear expression of nationalism came with the French Revolution in 1789. I just told you in the beginning also. French, as you would remember, was a full-fledged territorial state in 1789 under the rule of an absolute monarch. Remember grade 9, first chapter. The political and constitutional changes that came in the wake of the French Revolution led to the transfer of sovereignty from the monarchy to the body of French people. Okay, that French citizens. The revolution proclaimed that it was the people who would henceforth, that means in future, constitute the nation and shape its destiny. So this was the outcome of the French Revolution. But did they really get it? No. Because you see a lot of turmoil and political turmoil took place in France, right? Because the National Assembly could not work. Then reign of terror came over there. Rule of directories came over there. Then finally they came back to square one, right? That means you can say Napoleon became the monarch. So back to square one. You started this French Revolution to get rid of the monarch, and you ended up with installing a monarch in the same country. Right? Okay. So what did you achieve? Nothing. So from the very beginning, the French revolutionaries introduced various measures and practices that could create a sense of collective identity among the French people. So in this chapter, we will talk about the collective identities of people, or the peoples rather, so not people. Okay, that Polish people, the French people, the Germans, the Austrians, the Hungarians, the Italians, right? So these people had to find out their collective identity, or you can say commonness. Okay, the idea of la patrie, the fatherland, and les citoyens emphasized the notion of the united community enjoying equal rights under the constitution. So this is what the main theme was of the French Revolution. A new French flag was also designed, was chosen to replace the former royal standard. The States General was elected by the body of active citizens and renamed the National Assembly. Do you remember the active and passive citizens? Right? Okay, active citizens, those who used to pay taxes, right? And they were supposed to take part in election, right? Otherwise, women, children, and old people were called passive citizens. Okay, and unemployed youth. New hymns were composed, oaths taken, and martyrs commemorated in all the name of the nation. A centralized administrative system was put in place, and it formulated the uniform laws for citizens within the territory. This is what the features are for to make a country, because throughout the country you will have one law or uniform law system, right? Okay, and standardization of everything should be there. Same currency, same language may differ, but currency should be same, flag should be same, or one flag, right? One constitution, one laws, everything should be implemented in this. This is what a country is, or a nation is. So internal customs duty and dues were abolished, and a uniform system of weight and measurement was adopted. This was all done by this is fine. This all was done by Napoleon. Okay, what he did there, that was the thing. Regional dialects were discouraged, and French, as it was spoken and written in Paris, became the common language for the language of the nation. So you can see these were the outcomes of, I write here, outcomes of the French Revolution. Okay, these were the outcomes of the French Revolution. Come to the next part, next paragraph. The revolutionaries further declared that it was the mission of the French Revolution. Okay, these were the outcomes of the French Revolution. Come to the next part, next paragraph. The revolutionaries further declared that it was the mission and destiny of the French nation to liberate the people of Europe from despotism, and in other words, to help other people in Europe to become nations. Right? So not only it was confined to France, these ideals or these ideas, the noble ideas, also spread in Europe. and they had this intention, or you can say the mission, that we will make other monarchical form of government also obsolete, and we will make help those countries who want to become or who want to be liberated from the monarchical form of government. We will help them, right? Okay, fine. So when the news of the event in France reached the different cities of Europe, students and other members of educated middle classes began setting up Jacobin clubs. You remember? Okay, so this is just a recapitulation of what you studied in grade 9 about French Revolution. So their activities and campaigns prepared the way for the French armies, which moved into Holland, Belgium, Switzerland, and much of the Italy in 1970s. With the outbreak of the Revolutionary wars, the French armies began to carry the idea of nationalism abroad with Napoleon and Napoleonic army, right? Okay, wherever Napoleon went, his army went, people welcomed, because they thought that he is the harbinger, or you can say he is bringing the noble ideas of liberty, equality, and all these things, right? And uniformity. So people welcomed, and this is how you can say the old monarchical form of government were removed, right? But later the intention was different. Napoleon started installing his relatives and brothers and his relatives on the monarchical form of government over there, right? Then and he tried to do away with the local culture. He has started imposing French languages, French system on those countries, right? So if France tries to impose the French system on Poland, Russia, let's say, give an example, or Italy, this is going to be a serious issue, because they have their own identity already, right? So you can't impose the French thing everywhere. And then what happened? People started opposing the French thing, and that culminated in the Battle of Waterloo in 1815, where Napoleon was defeated by the combined forces of Europe. Right? So just consider that how come Napoleon, which was a hero of Europe, right, was got so many enemies, that all the countries, or you can say the principalities, got united against Napoleon. What did he do? These things, the imposition of, you can say, French things on other things, and ignoring their regional values and culture, right? Those things. So we are at page number 6 now. So it says that there is a map also, you can see in the map, Europe after the Congress of Vienna in 1815. So 1815 was the year when Waterloo, the Battle of Waterloo took place, and Napoleon got defeated, right? So you can see here it says this was the Mediterranean Sea, this is Spain, France, Switzerland, right? All these countries are there. You can see Ottoman Empire, the biggest empire at that time in the world, all in green color. Serbia, Bulgaria, Romania, Armenia, right? Georgia, these. So you can see all the Ottoman Empire was an Islamic empire, right? But the people living over there were not Muslims. They were the Serbs, they were the Romans, right? They were the Bulgarians. They had their own language, they had their own custom, culture, right? But they had to live under the Muslim rule, right? And Greece also, you can see. So all the old Greek civilization now is being ruled by a Muslim rule. So naturally that the Greek elements or the Greek feeling did not die down, right? And you will see the Greek War of Independence took place. Romania and Bulgaria also started receding from Ottoman Empire. All these happened. So you can see why just consider one case, this one also, that why in 1991 the USSR got disintegrated. Because the USSR tried to impose Russian things on all the CIS countries, the modern CIS countries, like in Ukraine, Latvia, Estonia, all right, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, everywhere they wanted, all these are Muslim country, Muslim population. There they wanted to impose the Russian things, the Russian system. Means what? You are ignoring the features or the values and the culture of Central Asian. USSR got disintegrated because the USSR tried to impose Russian things on all the CIS countries, the modern CIS countries, like in Ukraine, Latvia, Estonia, all right, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, everywhere they wanted, all these are Muslim country, Muslim population. There they wanted to impose the Russian things, the Russian system. Or means what? You are ignoring the features or the values and the culture of Central Asian communities, and especially the Muslim communities, right? So they all were fed up, but they were under the strict rule of the communist government. So whenever they got time, finally they disintegrated. Okay, so here it says, page number 6, first line, within the wide swath of territories that came under his control, Napoleon set about introducing many of the reforms that had already introduced in France. Okay, what he introduced in France, he tried to introduce in other countries also. Through a return to monarchy, Napoleon had no doubt destroyed democracy in France. So please underline this line. Right. So in French Revolution in 1789, countries tried to achieve democratic form of government, and when Napoleon became the king, he destroyed all the spirit of French Revolution. Okay. But in the administrative fields, he had incorporated revolutionary principles in order to make the whole system more rational and efficient. So you can say that he was a good administrator in this sense. The Civil Code of 1804, write down, Civil Code of 1804, what does it talk about? Usually known as the Napoleonic Code, did away with all the privileges based on birth, established equality before law, and secured the right to property. This code was exported to the regions under the French control. This is what he tried to do everywhere, so people liked him. But what he did after that, that was not liked by them. That is why all the countries in Europe gathered together against Napoleon. Napoleon simplified administrative divisions, abolished the feudal system, and freed peasants from serfdom and manorial dues. Right. So all the old bad system of Europe in agriculture, or you can say the rural Europe, okay, he did away all these things. With the towns too, guilds restrictions were removed, transport and communication system were improved, peasants, artisans, workers, and new businessmen enjoyed a newborn freedom. Okay, under the Napoleon rule. Businessmen and small-scale producers of goods, I am at page number 7, producers of goods in particular began to realize that uniform laws, standardized weights and measures, and a common national currency would facilitate or would increase the movement and exchange of goods and capital from one area to another. Right. So these were that was the Napoleon Civil Code, you can say. So if any question comes on Napoleon Civil Code, you will write these 2 paragraphs. Okay. So that is very important here. So put a star mark over there that this paragraph is important for you. All right. So if everything was so good, why did the countries assemble together or formed a union against Napoleon? Right. That is also a natural question. Right, when the businessmen were supporting and the small scale producers, peasants, farmers, all were enjoyed the newfound freedom, what happened to them? That they all went against Napoleon. So it says, however, in the areas conquered, the reaction of the local population to French rule were mixed. Initially, in many places such as Holland and Switzerland, as well as in certain cities in Brussels, Mainz, Milan, and Warsaw, the French army was welcomed as harbingers of liberty, I told you earlier. But the initial enthusiasm soon turned into hostility. How? As it became clear that the new administrative arrangements did not go hand in hand with political freedom. Increased taxation, censorship, forced conscription. You understand the meaning of conscription? Forced recruitment in the army. Okay, you don't want to be the part of army, but Napoleon said, no, you have to be, you are 17 years old, you have to serve in the army, right? You wanted to become an engineer, a doctor, an artist, right? But now you have to become an army man. So that is called forced conscription. Into the French army required to conquer the rest of Europe, all seemed to outweigh the advantages of the administrative changes. So what he did was, of course, good. Years old, you have to serve in the army, right? You wanted to become an engineer, a doctor, an artist, right? But now you have to become an army man. So that is called forced conscription. Into the French army required to conquer the rest of Europe, all seemed to outweigh the advantages of the administrative changes. So what he did was, of course, good, but all these forced things or the increased taxes, and people thought that, oh, it was an illusion. It was an illusion that we welcomed him. We thought that he will bring many things, but finally what we are getting? More hardship. Right? Censorship is there. We cannot express ourselves. Right? Our children are being forced to join the army. Right? More taxes we have to pay. So in that case they found that no, we don't want these things. Right? Okay? All this happened. And naturally those conservative rulers before Napoleon, those were there in those countries, they also started making alliances. Right? So all these things, people went against him, and the population also these kings also started going against him. Naturally they were the enemies also only. Okay? So that happened. Anyway, so page number 7 is over. Now we are at page number 8.